What if everything around you suddenly started moving at 1,000 miles per hour without you taking a single step? Right now, you're standing on a planet spinning faster than a bullet. You just don't feel it. The Earth rotates at roughly 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. But what if that motion stopped instantly? Would you even survive the first second? Because if Earth suddenly stopped spinning, you wouldn't gently fall over. You would be violently hurled eastward at nearly 1,000 miles per hour. Buildings would tear from their foundations. Oceans would surge across continents. Airplanes, vehicles, trees, anything not anchored to bedrock would keep moving. And that's just the first heartbeat of the disaster. The immediate aftermath. If you were near the equator, you, the ground beneath you, and everything around you would continue racing eastward due to inertia. Gravity would still hold you to the planet. You wouldn't fly into space, but the surface would become a corridor of destruction. At the poles, strangely, you might not notice anything at first. With zero angular momentum there, it would be like touching the axis of a spinning basketball. That single point doesn't move. But everywhere else? Chaos. When the ground finally stopped sliding, you might think the worst was over. It wouldn't be. The atmosphere doesn't stop. Even if the solid Earth froze in place, the atmosphere would keep moving. Global winds approaching 1,000 miles per hour would rip across the planet. For comparison, the strongest gust ever recorded barely exceeded 250 miles per hour. This would be several stronger. Entire cities would be leveled, forests stripped bare. Structures built to survive hurricanes would disintegrate. And when the winds finally calmed, the oceans would move. The world becomes water. Earth's rotation currently causes ocean water to bulge at the equator. Remove that force, and the oceans begin migrating toward the poles. Before that shift even completes, massive megatsunamis, hundreds of feet high, would sweep across continents. A global flood, beyond anything in human mythology. When the waters finally settle, two massive polar oceans would form, and near the equator, a vast supercontinent would emerge, barren, lifeless, scarred. But the planet wouldn't be done. The crust would break. Tectonic plates would slam into each other. Mega earthquakes would fracture the surface. Volcanoes would erupt on a scale never seen before. Ash would darken the sky. Lava would consume entire regions. Earth wouldn't look like a planet anymore. It would look like a wound. And then, something even stranger begins. A day that lasts a year. Earth would still orbit the sun. But without rotation, one orbit becomes one day. 6 months of sunlight. 6 months of darkness. Temperatures on the bright side could exceed 212 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to boil water. Oceans evaporate, land burns. Meanwhile, the dark side freezes solid. The sky would stop moving, stars frozen in place, because they were never moving. We were. Could anything survive? Microbes, maybe. Deep sea life, possibly. Humans? Only if we keep moving. A thin twilight zone between heat and freezing would be the only livable place. We would have to follow it. But even that isn't enough. Our bodies depend on a 24-hour rhythm. Without it, everything breaks. And all of this is only the surface. Because if the core stops too, everything changes. The magnetic shield falls. Earth's core creates our magnetic field. Without it, radiation floods the planet. DNA breaks. cells die. And one solar storm could end everything. Could this actually happen? Technically, yes, but not anytime soon. Earth is slowing down by about 1.4 milliseconds per century. Hundreds of millions of years ago, days were shorter. One day, they may last an entire year. But we won't be here to see it, because long before that, the sun will end everything. If you're fascinated by ideas like this, subscribe. There's a lot more we're about to explore together. And here's the truth. You are alive right now because Earth spins at exactly the right speed. Not too fast, not too slow. That invisible motion controls everything. And if it changes, everything changes. The next time you watch the sun rise, remember, it only rises because you're moving. And one day, you won't be.